As we grow older, it's natural to become more generous with our time, advice, and even financial support. After all, we've lived through decades of experience and accumulated wisdom, and it feels good to help others. Whether it's offering a listening ear, providing guidance, or giving a helping hand in times of need, the instinct to care for others often grows stronger with age. But the truth is, not everyone you come across is worthy of your generosity. While it's admirable to offer help, there's a harsh reality that many older adults face. Some people will take advantage of your kindness, leaving you emotionally drained, financially strained, or even mentally exhausted. Over time, if you're not careful, you may find yourself in relationships that only serve to deplete you rather than add value to your life. In this article, we will explore 4 types of people who should not be the recipients of your generosity in your later years. These individuals, while they may come across as needing help or appearing helpless, can end up draining your resources and manipulating your goodwill. By recognizing these types of people and setting healthy boundaries, you'll be able to protect your peace, financial security, and emotional well-being. So if you want to avoid the stress and regret that can come from helping the wrong people, keep reading to learn who you should steer clear of and how to handle them. Stay tuned until the end, because understanding these 4 types of individuals could change the way you view certain relationships in your life, and learning how to deal with them could save you years of unnecessary stress. Now that we've set the stage, let's dive into the first type of person you should avoid helping as you age. One of the most common types of people who can drain you emotionally and financially are the chronic takers. These are the individuals who always seem to be in need of help, whether it's money, time, or favors. They come to you in their moment of crisis, and you, being the compassionate person you are, offer your support. But as soon as the crisis is over, they disappear, until the next time they need something. The problem with chronic takers is that they never offer anything in return. They don't check in to see how you're doing. They don't offer to help you when you need it. Instead, they're constantly taking, asking, and relying on you, without ever acknowledging your sacrifices. At first, you may believe that by helping them, you're making a real difference. Perhaps they promise to repay you, or maybe they thank you profusely, making you feel appreciated. However, over time you start to notice the pattern. They never keep their promises, and their problems continue to pile up. It's always something new, always an excuse, and they never learn to solve their own issues. Let's take the example of Joe, a 72-year-old retired carpenter. His younger cousin had always struggled financially and would often turn to Joe for loans. Every time the cousin had a new excuse, he'd lost his job, his car broke down, or there was some other unexpected expense. Joe, wanting to help, kept bailing him out, believing that his cousin would eventually get back on his feet. But years passed, and nothing changed. The cousin continued to make poor financial choices, continued to borrow money, and never paid back a dime. Joe eventually realized that his constant help wasn't solving anything, it was enabling his cousin's irresponsible behavior. The key takeaway here is that chronic takers don't change. They rely on the kindness of others and never take responsibility for their actions. Helping them over and over again only feeds into their behavior, and they'll move on to the next person once you're no longer available. If you recognize this pattern in someone's behavior, it's time to set boundaries. You don't have to be rude or harsh. A simple, "I'm not in a position to help right now," is enough. By refusing to enable their behavior, you protect your own well-being and direct your generosity toward people who truly appreciate it. Another type of person to avoid helping in your old age is the emotional manipulator. These individuals don't ask directly for help. Instead, they know exactly how to make you feel guilty and obligated, pushing your emotional buttons until you offer your assistance. They manipulate your emotions to get what they want, often using guilt, pity, or anger as their primary tools. Emotional manipulators are skilled at making you feel responsible for their well-being. They frame every conversation around their struggles, constantly hinting at their problems, without ever asking for direct help. You may hear them sigh heavily and say things like, I don't know what I'm going to do, or everything just seems so unfair, waiting for you to step in and offer a solution. If you don't, they act disappointed, upset, or even angry, making you feel like a bad person for not helping. Helen, a 68-year-old retired nurse, learned this lesson the hard way. Her longtime friend Martha always seemed to be in a crisis. Her appliances were breaking down, she had financial struggles, and there were constant family disputes. Whenever Martha needed help, she turned to Helen, not for advice, but for a solution. Helen, thinking that good friends always help each other, always stepped in. But over time she noticed that when she needed support, Martha was nowhere to be found. The friendship was one-sided, and Helen was exhausted from constantly being the emotional caretaker. The truth is, genuine relationships are balanced. If someone only reaches out when they need something but is unavailable when you need them, that's not a friendship, it's manipulation. Emotional manipulators want you to take responsibility for their happiness and struggles, but you are not obligated to fix their problems. You are allowed to set boundaries, say no, and put yourself first. Remember, people who truly care about you will respect your boundaries. Those who don't, were never really in your corner to begin with. By recognizing emotional manipulation, you can protect your energy and avoid the constant drain it brings. The third type of person you should be cautious about helping as you age is the reckless spender. These individuals are consistently in financial trouble due to their poor habits, yet they expect others to bail them out whenever they find themselves in a crisis. They live beyond their means, make impulsive purchases, and ignore financial responsibility. While you might want to help a loved one in need, there's a fine line between offering support and enabling bad financial decisions. Reckless spenders are the ones who never seem to learn from their mistakes. Every time they run out of money, they come to you for help, promising that this will be the last time. But the next time they face a financial crisis, they're asking for help again. They may start with a reasonable request, help with rent after losing a job or covering an unexpected medical bill. But over time, the pattern becomes clear. Their financial struggles aren't caused by bad luck. They're caused by poor choices. And no matter how much you give, the cycle never ends. Take Ron, a 74-year-old retired mechanic, for example. His grandson had always struggled with money, jumping from job to job and spending whatever he earned without thinking ahead. Whenever his grandson needed money to cover bills or car repairs, Ron felt obligated to help. He thought that if he just stepped in, his grandson would eventually get back on track. But months passed, and nothing changed. The grandson continued to rack up debt and make irresponsible financial decisions. Eventually, Ron realized that his financial support wasn't helping. It was simply allowing his grandson to avoid taking responsibility for his actions. The truth is, you can't solve someone's financial irresponsibility by giving them money. If they're not learning to manage their finances, your help is only enabling their behavior. Many older adults find themselves in financial difficulty because they prioritize helping others over securing their own future. They give out loans that are never repaid, deplete their savings, and risk running out of money during retirement. Here's the key takeaway. It's important to prioritize your own financial security. You do not owe anyone financial support, no matter how much they guilt you, or how desperate they seem. If someone refuses to manage their money responsibly, you have every right to say no. Your well-being, especially during your retirement years, should be your top priority. You have worked hard for your savings, and you deserve to enjoy it without the burden of others' financial irresponsibility weighing on you. The fourth type of person who can drain your energy is the perpetual victim. These are the individuals who go through life constantly blaming others for their problems and never taking responsibility for their own actions. They can always find a reason why things didn't work out, why they're struggling, or why their life is so unfair. While they may seem to need help or guidance at first, what they're really looking for is validation. Validation for their story of victimhood, rather than a solution to their problems. Perpetual victims often get caught in a cycle of negativity. They'll complain endlessly about how unfair life is to them, how people have wronged them, how they face setback after setback. When you listen and offer advice, they never seem to take it. Instead, they offer excuses for why their life isn't improving. They're not looking for solutions, they're looking for sympathy and validation. And the more you give, the more they depend on you to perpetuate their victim narrative. Take Linda, a 71-year-old retired teacher. She had an old friend named Karen who constantly complained about her life. One month, Karen needed help paying bills. The next, she was upset about how unfair her boss was. Then it was how nobody supported her and how she was always betrayed by others. Linda, feeling sorry for Karen, offered emotional support, financial help, and even introduced her to job opportunities. But no matter what Linda did, Karen always had a new complaint and a new excuse. Eventually, Linda realized that Karen wasn't interested in solutions. She was only interested in being the victim. And no matter how much Linda helped, Karen's life never seemed to improve. The truth is, perpetual victims are stuck in their own negativity. They don't want to change. They want to remain in their comfort zone of excuses and blame. And the more you try to help, the more you become entangled in their cycle of despair. Helping someone who refuses to help themselves is not only exhausting, it's emotionally draining. You end up feeling like you're carrying their problems on your back, but no matter what you do, it's never enough. The key lesson here is to step back. Stop trying to fix their problems. Stop offering endless sympathy and stop letting their negativity drag you down. You are not responsible for someone who refuses to take action and change their life. It's important to protect your own peace of mind and not let the perpetual victim's story define your emotions or your day-to-day life. As we wrap up this discussion, take a moment to reflect on the 4 types of people we've covered. Have you encountered any of them in your own life? Perhaps you've felt drained by someone who constantly takes but never gives back, or maybe you've been manipulated into feeling guilty for setting boundaries. It's important to recognize these behaviors early and set clear boundaries to protect your emotional, mental, and financial well-being. Aging should be a time of peace and fulfillment, not stress and regret. You've spent a lifetime learning valuable lessons and building relationships. Now is the time to prioritize yourself, your happiness, and your security. Remember, you are not responsible for fixing other people's mistakes. You do not owe anyone your time, money, or emotional energy if they aren't willing to reciprocate or make an effort to improve their own lives. By recognizing and avoiding the 4 types of people we've discussed, the chronic taker, the emotional manipulator, the reckless spender, and the perpetual victim, you can ensure that your later years are filled with peace, joy, and relationships that truly enrich your life. Take control of your generosity. Protect your time, your finances, and your energy. Surround yourself with people who respect you, honor your boundaries, and add value to your life. The key to a fulfilling old age is not in giving endlessly, but in giving wisely. Choose where to invest your kindness, and remember that you come first. Your peace, happiness, and well-being are worth protecting.